With me to Mexico. Mm-hmm. Could be the
Move.
black kitty.
Move, cat. Move.
Come on, get down.
In 3, 2. Are you considering living abroad?
I am.
Okay. So
I don't know about you, but I am.
Well, we're in that age bracket where we're starting to think about, do we want to stay here in the United States? Do we want to move abroad? And so we thought it would be a good idea to maybe, put together maybe a podcast, some questions that things could be answered. So we've decided to derive and put together a podcast to answer those questions and create a broadcast for you. So,
I have a question.
yes,
What difference does it make what age bracket you're in? People
good
people
question.
travel in their 20s, 30s, 40s.
Well, our channel is basically geared towards people who are looking to maybe deciding to maybe want to live abroad, not just want to travel itself. I mean, there are plenty of travel channels out there.
There's plenty of people that want to live abroad.
Okay.
They want to live there, and they want to travel.
They want to. Oh, yeah. That is a good point that a lot of people do. So, are you one of the ones who would like to just travel, or are you a person who would like to maybe live abroad year round, or maybe live abroad 6 months in another country and 6 months home,
Be
slow
a
travel?
snowbird.
Yeah, snowbird. Put in the comments below what you may think. So, but we're the first the broadcast that we've put together is some of the best communities to live into Mexico.
Yeah, best communities in Mexico. Was what, 5 of them?
I think
About
it
5
may
different
be
places.
5 different places.
Yeah.
So, but let's hop into it, and we'll just see you on the other end.
Is brought to you by Frankie and Maria of the Abroad Experiences YouTube channel, your one-stop shop for all things expat life. All right. Let's talk about something real quick. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a rut, like you're just going through the motions, and you're craving something more? What if I told you there's a way to break free, to ditch the ordinary, and design a life that truly lights you up? We're diving deep into a question that might just change your life. What if you could escape the daily grind and move to Mexico?
It's a question that's sparking a lot of interest lately. Mexico has become a haven for those seeking a change of pace, a more affordable lifestyle, and, let's face it, some sunshine and delicious food.
Okay, but moving to another country, that's a huge EE step. It can be scary, exciting, and a little overwhelming all at the same time. But don't worry, we're going to break it down Kevin Hart style, so you can ditch the fear and embrace the adventure.
That's what we're here for, to help you navigate the ins and outs of expat life and make those big decisions with more confidence and less fear.
I like it. So where do we even begin? Mexico is a big country with a lot to offer. How do you narrow it down and find the perfect spot for you?
Well, International Living Magazine just released an article called The Best Expat Communities to Live in Mexico as a U.S. Citizen in 2024. They've done a lot of the legwork for us, handpicking 7 locations that offer that sweet spot, a smooth transition, plenty of amenities, and authentic Mexican culture.
So we're not talking about roughing it in a remote village with no Wi-Fi. Because, let's be real, I need my Netflix fixed.
Don't worry, these locations are all about finding that balance between comfort and adventure. Think accessible, comfortable, A&D, exciting. We're talking bustling beach towns, charming colonial cities, even lakeside retreats.
Okay, let's unpack this. First up on the list is Puerto Vallarta. I feel like I've heard this name a million times.
Yeah.
What's the deal with Puerto Vallarta?
Puerto Vallarta is basically the OG expat haven. It's been welcoming foreigners for over 60 years, so they've got this whole expat thing down to a science.
So what's the vibe like? Is it all tourists and resorts? Or is there some real Mexican flavor mixed in?
It's a great blend of both. You can stroll along the Malecon, which is like their version of a boardwalk, popping into boutiques and cafes, or you can escape to the Sierra Madre Mountains for some serious adventure.
Hold up, mountains. Are we talking hiking, zip lining, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
That sounds right up my alley.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the beaches. The Bay of Banderas is known for its stunning beaches and incredible marine life. You can go whale watching, swimming with dolphins, or just soak up the sun on the golden sand.
Okay, this is already sounding pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'm also practical. What about things like healthcare and getting around? Because I'm not trying to end up in a Mexican hospital with no clue what's going on.
Don't worry, they've got you covered.
Yeah.
Puerto Vallarta has excellent healthcare facilities, both public and private, and it's incredibly affordable compared to the U.S. And getting around is a breeze. You can walk bike, take taxis, or even hop on a bus.
Okay, so it's convenient, affordable, A&D, beautiful. Puerto Vallarta is checking a lot of boxes. What's next on our expat adventure list?
From the beach, we're heading inland to a place that's bursting with art and culture. San Miguel de Allende. Imagine cobblestone streets, colonial architecture, and a town that's basically an open-air art gallery.
Okay, art and culture. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
San Miguel de Allende is known for its vibrant arts and crafts scene. Think pottery paintings, sculptures, those gorgeous hammered tin mirrors. You could easily spend a whole day just wandering through the shops and studios.
Okay, I can already picture myself getting lost in the creative energy. But what about the vibe? Is it super touristy? Or does it have a more authentic feel?
It's a really interesting mix. It has that charming small town feel, but it's also very cosmopolitan, with a thriving expat community and a sophisticated dining scene.
So it's like a perfect blend of old world charm and modern amenities. I like it. What about the weather? Because I'm all about that sunshine and warmth.
You're in luck. San Miguel de Allende has a really pleasant high desert climate. Think warm days and cool nights for most of the year. It's perfect for strolling through the cobblestone streets or enjoying a margarita on a rooftop patio.
Margarita on a rooftop patio. You had me at margarita. San Miguel de Allende is definitely moving up on my list. What other hidden gems does Mexico have in store for us?
Let's head back to the coast, but this time to the Yucatan Peninsula. We're talking Mérida, a city with 1 million people, but a heart of a small town.
1 million people. Okay, that sounds a little intimidating. I'm not sure I'm ready for big city life.
I hear you, but trust me, Mérida has a very different feel than a typical big city. It's known for its laid-back vibe, its friendly people, and its incredible food scene.
Okay, you had me at food scene. Tell me more.
Mérida is a foodie's paradise. It's known for its unique Yucatan cuisine, which blends Mayan and Spanish influences. You'll find everything from traditional dishes like cochinita pibil, slow-roasted pork, to modern fusion creations.
My mouth is already watering. But what else makes Mérida special?
Well, for one, it's incredibly affordable. You can find beautiful colonial homes for a fraction of what you'd pay in the U.S., and the cost of living is incredibly low. Plus, it's just a short drive from the Gulf Coast, where you can find those picture-perfect white sand beaches.
Wait, did you say beachfront homes for a fraction of the cost? Okay, this is sounding better and better. But what about the language barrier? My Spanish is pretty rusty.
You'll definitely want to brush up on your Spanish, but you can get by in English in many areas of Mérida, especially within the expat community.
Okay, that takes the pressure off a bit. So you've got delicious food, affordable living beaches nearby, and a charming small-town vibe. Mérida's ticking a lot of boxes. What's next on our Mexican adventure?
Let's travel to a spot that's practically synonymous with expat life, Lake Chapala. Picture a stunning lake surrounded by charming villages, rolling hills, and a thriving expat community.
Okay, a lakeside lifestyle. That sounds incredibly peaceful. Tell me more.
Lake Chapalas is the largest lake in Mexico and home to the biggest concentration of U.S. expats in the world. It's like stepping into a ready-made community with everything you need to feel right at home.
Wow, that's impressive. What is it about Lake Chapala that draws so many expats?
Well, for one, the climate is incredible. Think warm days and cool nights year-round. It's also super affordable, especially compared to the U.S. You can find beautiful homes with gardens, and it's even common to have a cook, a maid, and a gardener.
Hold up, a cook, a maid, and a gardener. Now that's the life. Maybe in Lake Chapala, I'll finally learn to make something other than instant ramen.
You might surprise yourself. But beyond the affordable luxury, Lake Chapala offers a rich cultural scene. You've got English language theater, concerts, all kinds of clubs and activities, golf courses, tennis courts, hiking trails. There's truly something for everyone.
Okay, so you're telling me I can live like royalty, enjoy incredible weather, and never be bored. Sign me up.
Oh, but wait, is it all retirees? Because I'm not quite ready for the retirement home just yet.
It's not at all. While Lake Chapala is popular with retirees, it's also attracting a younger generation of expats who are drawn to its affordability, its beauty, and its laid-back lifestyle. You'll find a good mix of ages and interests within the community. Okay, that's good to know. So it's like a diverse and welcoming community where everyone can find their place. I like it. What else should we know about Lake Chapala?
Well, one thing to keep in mind is that it's situated about a mile high, similar to Denver. So the altitude might take some getting used to, but if you're looking for a relaxed, affordable, and culturally rich lifestyle with a built-in community, Lake Chapala is definitely worth considering.
Okay, Lake Chapala is officially on my radar. What other adventures await us in Mexico?
Next, we're heading to a place that's captured the imaginations of travelers and expats alike. Tulum. Imagine ancient Mayan ruins perched on cliffs overlooking the turquoise Caribbean Sea.
Mayan ruins and the Caribbean Sea. Okay, that sounds epic. Tell me everything.
Tulum is truly a magical place. It's a blend of history, natural beauty, and bohemian vibes. You can explore ancient temples one day and practice yoga on the beach the next.
Yoga on the beach. Okay, that's speaking to my soul. But what about the crowds? Isn't Tulum super touristy these days?
It can get crowded during peak season, but there's still a sense of tranquility and wonder that permeates the town. And if you venture a little further afield, you can find secluded beaches and hidden cenotes, natural sinkholes, that feel like they're straight out of a dream.
Okay, secluded beaches and natural wonders. I'm officially intrigued. What's the vibe like in Tulum? Is it party central or more laid back?
It's definitely more laid back than a party town, although there's a good nightlife scene if you're looking for it. The overall vibe is very chill and bohemian, with a focus on wellness, sustainability, and connection with nature.
So it's like a place where you can recharge your batteries and connect with your inner hippie. I dig it. What about the cost of living? Because I'm not exactly rolling in dough.
Tulum can be more expensive than some of the other locations we've discussed, especially in the more touristy areas. But if you're willing to venture off the beaten path, you can find more affordable options. And remember, the cost of living is still relatively low compared to the US and Canada.
Okay, good to know. So it's like you get what you pay for. If you want the luxury experience, you'll pay a premium. But if you're willing to be a little more adventurous, you can find affordable hidden gems. I like that.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that makes Tulum so special. It offers something for everyone, whether you're looking for a luxurious getaway or a bohemian adventure.
Okay, Tulum is officially on my list. What's next on our Mexican expat haven tour?
Let's travel to a hidden gem on the Pacific coast, Huatulco. It's a coastal town with beautiful beaches, a charming small town vibe, and a slower pace of life.
Huatulco. I've never even heard of this place. Tell me everything.
Huatulco is a relatively undiscovered paradise, which is part of its charm. It's known for its 9 bays, each with its own unique personality and stunning beaches. You can find everything from secluded coves to bustling beaches with restaurants and bars.
Okay, 9 bays and tons of beaches. That sounds pretty amazing. What about the town itself? Is it lively or more sleepy?
It's a really interesting mix. It has a laid-back, small-town vibe, but it's also very welcoming to tourists and expats. You'll find a good mix of restaurants, shops, and activities, but it's not as bustling as some of the other locations we've discussed.
So it's like a perfect balance between tranquility and convenience.
Yeah.
I like it. What about the expat community? Is it big?
It's a smaller expat community compared to places like Lake Chapala, but it's very welcoming. And because Huatulco is still relatively undiscovered, you have the chance to truly immerse yourself in the local culture and connect with people from all walks of life.
Okay, so it's like a hidden gem where you can escape the crowds and experience authentic Mexican life. I'm sold. What about getting there? Is it easy to access?
It's easier than you might think. Huatulco actually has its own international airport, with direct flights to the US, Canada, and the UK.
Wow. I'm surprised it has its own international airport, considering it's a smaller town. Okay, Huatulco is officially on my radar. What's the last stop on our Mexican expat haven tour?
We're ending our journey at the southern tip of the Baja California Peninsula, in a place where the desert meets the sea, Los Cabos.
Los Cabos. Okay, that's a name I recognize. It's pretty swanky, right? All fancy resorts and celebrity sightings.
Los Cabos definitely has a luxurious side, with world-class resorts, golf courses, and fine dining, but it also has a more laid-back, authentic side, with charming towns, local markets, and stunning natural beauty.
So it's like you can choose your own adventure in Los Cabos. You can go all out with the luxury experience or keep it low-key and authentic.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that makes Los Cabos so appealing. It offers something for everyone, whether you're looking for a high-end getaway or a more down-to-earth experience.
Okay, I can see the appeal of that. What about the beaches? Are they as amazing as everyone says they are?
The beaches in Los Cabos are truly spectacular. Think golden sand, turquoise water, and dramatic rock formations. And because Los Cabos is where the desert meets the sea, you get this incredible contrast between the arid landscape and the lush coastline.
Okay, that sounds pretty epic. But what about the crowds? Isn't Los Cabos a major tourist destination?
It can get crowded during peak season, but there are still plenty of secluded beaches and hidden coves to discover. And if you venture outside of the main tourist areas, you can find a more authentic, less crowded experience.
Okay, so it's like you have to do a little digging to find the hidden gems, but they're definitely there. What about the cost of living in Los Cabos?
Los Cabos can be more expensive than some of the other locations we've discussed, especially if you're looking for a luxury lifestyle. But there are also more affordable options available, especially if you're willing to live outside of the main tourist zones.
Okay, so it's all about finding that balance between your budget and your lifestyle preferences. What else should we know about Los Cabos?
Well, it's worth noting that Los Cabos is actually made up of two main towns, Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo. Cabo San Lucas is the more lively and touristy of the two, with a bustling marina, a vibrant nightlife scene, and plenty of shopping and dining options. San Jose del Cabo, on the other hand, is more laid back and traditional, with a charming historic district art galleries and a more relaxed pace of life.
So it's like two towns in one. You can choose your own vibe depending on what you're looking for. I like it.
Exactly, and that's what makes Los Cabos such a dynamic and appealing destination. It offers something for everyone, whether you're looking for excitement and adventure or relaxation and tranquility.
Okay, I'm officially adding Los Cabos to my list. So we've explored 7 incredible expat havens in Mexico: Puerto Vallarta, San Miguel de Allende, Mérida, Lake Capala, Tulum, Huatulco, and Los Cabos. Each one has its own unique charm and appeal.
And each one offers a different perspective on expat life in Mexico. The key is to find the location that best aligns with your lifestyle, your budget, and your dreams for your new life abroad.
Okay, but how do you actually choose? I mean, they all sound pretty amazing.
That's where the fun begins. It's all about exploring your options, doing your research, and following your heart.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired. But let's be real for a second. Moving to another country is a big decision. And it's totally normal to feel a little scared or overwhelmed. What if I make the wrong choice? What if I can't handle it? What if I end up missing my old life?
Those are all valid fears, and it's important to acknowledge them. But here's the thing. Moving abroad doesn't have to be a leap of faith into the unknown. With the right information, the right mindset, and the right support system, you can make this transition with confidence and excitement.
Okay, that's reassuring. So what are some of the things people should consider when making this decision? How do you know if moving to Mexico is the right choice for you?
Well, it all comes down to your personal values, your lifestyle preferences, and your vision for your future. Do you crave adventure, cultural immersion, and a slower pace of life? Are you looking for affordability, beautiful scenery, and a welcoming community? If so, Mexico might just be the perfect place for you.
Okay, so it's about aligning your dreams with the reality of expat life in Mexico, making sure it's a good fit for who you are and what you want.
Exactly. And remember, this is your journey. There's no right or wrong answer. It's all about finding what feels right for you.
I love that. It's like giving yourself permission to explore and experiment without the pressure of making the perfect choice.
Absolutely. And that's where the real magic happens. When you allow yourself to be open to the possibilities, you never know what incredible adventures await you.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired. But let's get practical for a moment. Moving abroad involves a lot more than just packing your bags and hopping on a plane. There are visas to figure out housing, to find healthcare to navigate. It can feel like a mountain of a task.
You're absolutely right. It can feel overwhelming, especially if you approach it all at once. But the key is to break it down into smaller, manageable steps.
Okay, so instead of freaking out about everything at once, we tackle it one piece at a time. Makes sense. What would you say is the first step for someone who's seriously considering making the move to Mexico?
I'd say the most important first step is research. Dive deep into the locations that resonate with you. Explore online forums, read expat blogs, connect with people who have already made the move. The more you know, the more confident you'll feel about making this big decision.
So gather as much information as possible before making any big decisions. Knowledge is power. What are some other crucial steps in the process?
Once you've done your research, the next step is to start tackling the logistics. Figure out the visa requirements, research healthcare options, explore housing possibilities. It can feel like a lot, but remember there are resources available to help you navigate this process.
Okay, so those are the practical nuts and bolts of making a move abroad. But what about the emotional side of things? Leaving behind your familiar life, friends, and family, that can be tough.
Absolutely. Moving abroad is as much an emotional journey as it is a logistical one. It's important to acknowledge and process those feelings of fear, excitement, and uncertainty.
So give yourself permission to feel all the feels. Don't try to bottle them up.
Exactly. Talk to your loved ones about your plans. Connect with other expats who understand what you're going through. And find healthy ways to manage stress and anxiety. Moving abroad is a roller coaster of emotions, so having a solid support system in place is essential.
Okay, so surround yourself with people who believe in your dreams and can offer encouragement and practical advice. Speaking of support systems, let's give a shout out to Frankie and Maria. Their Abroad Experiences YouTube channel is an incredible resource for anyone who's even remotely considering moving abroad.
They cover everything from finding housing and navigating the visa process to cultural immersion and making friends in a new country.
All right, I'm already feeling more confident about tackling this whole expat thing. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of moving abroad, let's take a step back and appreciate how far we've come in just this first part of our deep dive.
It's amazing how much we've covered, right? From exploring 7 incredible expat havens to addressing common fears and outlining the first steps towards making a move, it's clear that we're on a journey of empowerment and discovery.
You got that right. Yeah. And the best part is we're just getting started. So join us for part 2 of our deep dive into expat life in Mexico, where we'll delve even deeper into the practicalities, the challenges, and the incredible rewards of creating a life abroad.
I'm excited to continue this journey with you. And remember, we're here to help you make this dream a reality.
All right, that's a wrap for part 1. Don't forget to subscribe to Abroad Experiences on YouTube for even more expat inspiration and advice. See you in part 2.
Can't wait. Welcome back to our deep dive into expat life in Mexico.
All right. Let's jump right back into this Mexican adventure. We've explored some incredible locations, from bustling beach towns to tranquil lakeside retreats. But now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What are some of the practical things people need to consider when making the move to Mexico?
That's a great question. There are definitely some logistical hurdles to jump over. First and foremost, visas.
Oh yeah, visas. Those pesky little documents that can make or break your expat dreams. What's the deal with visas for Mexico? Is it hard to get one?
Well, it depends on your circumstances and how long you plan to stay. If you're just visiting for a short period, you might not need a visa at all. But if you're planning to live in Mexico long term, you'll need to apply for a residency visa.
Okay, that makes sense. But the paperwork, the processes, it can all feel so overwhelming. Where do you even begin?
Don't worry, it's not as complicated as it might seem. The Mexican government has actually streamlined the visa application process in recent years, making it much easier for foreigners to obtain residency.
Okay, that's a relief. So what are the different types of residency visas available?
Well, there are a few different options, depending on your circumstances. There's a temporary resident visa, which is valid for up to 4 years, and a permanent resident visa, which allows you to live in Mexico indefinitely.
Okay, so temporary or permanent, depending on how long you want to stay.
Yeah.
What are some of the requirements for obtaining a residency visa?
Well, you'll generally need to prove that you have sufficient financial resources to support yourself, either through savings investments or a steady income.
Okay, so no living off the kindness of strangers, huh?
Not exactly. But seriously, it's important to show that you're financially responsible and won't be a burden on the Mexican government.
Makes sense. What other requirements are there?
You'll need to provide proof of health insurance, a clean criminal background check, and a few other documents. But don't worry, there are plenty of resources available online and through immigration lawyers who can guide you through the process.
Okay, so even if paperwork isn't my strong suit, I can still navigate this visa thing with a little help from the experts. That's reassuring.
Yeah.
What about healthcare? That's a big concern for people who are considering moving abroad.
Absolutely. Healthcare is essential no matter where you live. But the good news is that Mexico has a very affordable and accessible healthcare system.
Okay, affordable is music to my ears. But what about the quality of care? Is it comparable to what we have in the U.S.?
That's a question that comes up a lot. And the answer is, it depends. The quality of healthcare in Mexico can vary, depending on the location and the type of facility. In major cities and tourist destinations, you'll find excellent hospitals and clinics with state-of-the-art equipment and highly trained medical professionals.
Okay, so if you're living in a well-developed area, you can expect decent healthcare. But what about in more rural areas or smaller towns?
Well, in more rural areas, the healthcare infrastructure might not be as advanced, but even in smaller towns, you'll generally find basic medical services and pharmacies.
Okay, so no matter where you are in Mexico, you'll have access to at least some level of healthcare. But what about insurance? Do you need to purchase private health insurance?
It's highly recommended, especially if you're planning to live in Mexico long term. While the public healthcare system is affordable, it can be overcrowded and may not offer the same level of coverage as private insurance.
Okay, so private insurance is the way to go for peace of mind. What are some of the options available for expats?
There are both Mexican and international health insurance providers that cater to expats. It's important to do your research and compare different plans to find the best coverage for your needs and budget.
Okay, so shop around and find the best deal. But how much does private health insurance typically cost in Mexico?
Well, it varies, depending on your age, health status, and the level of coverage you choose, but you can generally find comprehensive plans for a fraction of what you'd pay in the U.S.
All right, that's good to know. Affordable health care. Check. What about housing? That's another biggie on the list of expat concerns.
Finding the perfect place to call home in Mexico can be an exciting and daunting task. The good news is that there's a wide variety of housing options available, from charming colonial homes to modern apartments to sprawling beachfront villas.
Okay, so there's something for everyone. But where do you even begin your search? Do you just hop on a plane and start knocking on doors?
Not exactly. The best way to start your housing search is online. There are countless websites and real estate agencies that specialize in rentals and sales for expats.
Okay, so the internet is my friend when it comes to finding a place to live. What are some things to keep in mind when searching for housing in Mexico?
Well, first and foremost, consider your budget. Housing costs can vary greatly, depending on the location, the type of property, and the amenities you're looking for.
Right, so no champagne dreams on a beer budget.
Exactly. It's important to be realistic about what you can afford. Also, think about your lifestyle preferences. Do you want to be in the heart of the action, close to restaurant shops and nightlife? Or do you prefer a quieter, more laid-back setting?
Okay, so location is key. What about things like safety and security? That's a big concern for anyone moving to a new country.
Absolutely. It's important to research different neighborhoods and talk to expats who are already living in the areas you're considering. They can offer valuable insights into the safety and security of different areas.
Right, get the inside scoop from people who are actually living there. What about things like utilities and internet access?
Those are all important factors to consider as well. Make sure to ask about the availability and cost of utilities, like electricity, water, and gas. And if you work remotely or rely on the internet for entertainment, make sure to inquire about the reliability and speed of internet access in the areas you're considering.
Okay, so don't forget about the practicalities. Internet access is a must-have these days. What about transportation? How do people typically get around in Mexico?
Transportation options vary depending on the location. In larger cities, you'll find a mix of public transportation options, such as buses, subways, and taxis. In smaller towns, you might rely more on taxis or collective vans, known as colectivos.
Okay, so it's like a choose-your-own-adventure situation when it comes to transportation. What about driving? Can expats drive in Mexico?
Yes, expats can drive in Mexico with a valid driver's license from their home country. But if you're planning to stay long-term, it's a good idea to obtain a Mexican driver's license.
Okay, so get that Mexican license. But what about the driving conditions in Mexico? Is it crazy like I've seen in the movies?
Well, driving in Mexico can be a bit of an adventure, especially in larger cities where traffic can be chaotic. But with a little patience and a good sense of humor, you'll get the hang of it.
All right, I'm up for the challenge. So we've covered visas, healthcare, housing, and transportation. What other practicalities should people consider before making the move to Mexico?
Well, one thing that often comes up is the language barrier. While you can get by in English in many tourist areas, learning at least some basic Spanish will greatly enhance your experience and make it easier to navigate daily life.
Okay, so brush up on those Spanish skills. What are some other things people should be aware of before moving to Mexico?
Well, it's important to be aware of the cultural differences between your home country and Mexico. Mexican culture is very warm, welcoming, and family-oriented. It's a collectivist society where personal relationships and community ties are highly valued.
Okay, so be prepared to embrace a more community-focused way of life. What are some other cultural nuances to be aware of?
Well, Mexicans have a more relaxed attitude towards time than many North Americans. Things might not always run on schedule, and it's important to be patient and go with the flow.
Okay, so embrace the slower pace of life and don't sweat the small stuff. What about things like tipping and bargaining?
Tipping is customary in Mexico, as it is in many other countries. You'll typically tip waiters, bartenders, taxi drivers, and hotel staff. And bargaining is common in markets and with street vendors. So don't be afraid to haggle a bit for a better price.
Okay, so learn the art of the haggle. It's like a game. What about safety? That's a big concern for anyone moving to a new country.
Absolutely. It's important to be aware of your surroundings and take precautions to protect yourself, just as you would in any new city or country. Avoid walking alone in dark or deserted areas. Be mindful of your belongings, and don't flash large amounts of cash.
Right, basic street smarts apply wherever you go. But overall, is Mexico a safe place for expats?
Generally speaking, yes. Mexico is a safe and welcoming country for expats. But like anywhere else in the world, There are areas that are safer than others. It's important to do your research, choose your location wisely, and take common sense precautions to protect yourself.
Okay, so choose wisely and stay aware. But let's not forget about the fun stuff. What are some of the things that make expat life in Mexico so amazing?
Oh, where do I even begin? Mexico is a country of incredible beauty, rich culture, and warm hospitality. From its stunning beaches and ancient ruins to its vibrant cities and charming towns, there's something for everyone in Mexico.
Okay, so we've got the beauty, the culture, the hospitality. What else makes expat life in Mexico so special?
Well, one of the things that expats often rave about is the slower pace of life. In Mexico, people take the time to enjoy the simple things, like spending time with family and friends, savoring delicious food, and appreciating the beauty of their surroundings.
Okay, so it's like a shift in perspective, a reminder to slow down and savor the moment. I like it. What about the food? Everyone always raves about Mexican food.
The food in Mexico is absolutely incredible. It's so much more than just tacos and burritos. It's a vibrant and diverse cuisine that reflects the country's rich history and cultural influences.
Okay, my mouth is watering already. What are some must-try dishes for expats in Mexico?
Oh, there are so many. But some of my favorites include mole poblano, a rich and complex sauce made with chocolate and spices, chiles en nogada, a festive dish of poblano peppers stuffed with meat and fruit and topped with a creamy walnut sauce. And of course, you can't go wrong with a classic plate of tacos al pastor.
Okay, so those are going on my must-try list. What about the people? What are Mexicans like?
Mexicans are some of the warmest, friendliest, and most welcoming people you'll ever meet. They're always happy to help. Even if you don't speak much Spanish, they have a strong sense of community and are always up for a good time.
Okay, so I can expect to be greeted with open arms, and maybe even a few invitations to fiesta. I like it. What about the challenges? Let's be real. Expat life isn't always sunshine and margaritas. What are some of the difficulties people might encounter when moving to Mexico?
That's a great question. While expat life in Mexico can be incredibly rewarding, there are definitely challenges that come along with it. One of the biggest challenges can be adapting to a new culture.
All right. We're back for the final part of our deep dive into expat life in Mexico.
We've covered a lot of ground so far, from exploring dream locations to tackling the practicalities, and even acknowledging those inevitable expat fears.
We've done it all, baby. But we're not done yet. We've still got some juicy insights and Kevin Hart-style wisdom to share.
That's right, because moving to Mexico isn't just about checking off a list of logistical to-dos. It's about embracing a whole new way of life.
Okay, I like where this is going. So let's talk about the heart and soul of expat life, cultural immersion.
This is where the real magic happens. It's about stepping outside of your comfort zone, opening your mind to new experiences, and truly connecting with the heart and soul of Mexico.
Okay, that sounds deep. But how do you actually do that?
Yep.
What are some practical ways to immerse yourself in the Mexican culture?
Well, one of the best ways is to engage all your senses, explore the local markets, savor the vibrant flavors of Mexican cuisine, listen to the rhythms of traditional music, and witness the colorful artistry that's woven into everyday life.
Okay, so it's about soaking it all in. But what about the language barrier? My Spanish is more hola and cerveza than fluent conversation.
That's where the adventure begins. Even knowing a few basic phrases shows respect and opens doors to deeper connections.
Okay, so even if I'm butchering the pronunciation, the effort counts.
Absolutely. And every conversation, every interaction becomes a chance to learn and grow.
So it's like a language learning fiesta. But let's be real, even with the best intentions, cultural differences can lead to some awkward moments, right? Like what if I accidentally offend someone or do something totally clueless?
Those moments are inevitable, and they're often the best teachers. Embrace those stumbles with a sense of humor and a willingness to learn from them.
Okay, so laugh it off and keep it moving.
Yeah.
But seriously, how do you navigate those cultural differences without feeling like a total outsider?
It's all about approaching the culture with respect, humility, and a genuine desire to understand. Ask questions, observe, and be open to learning new ways of doing things.
Okay, so it's like becoming a student of the culture, soaking up the knowledge like a sponge. But what about those days when you just miss the familiar comforts of home? Those moments when the excitement fades and you're hit with a wave of homesickness?
Those days are bound to happen. And it's okay to acknowledge those feelings. Reach out to loved ones back home, connect with other expats who understand what you're going through, and remind yourself of the reasons why you chose this adventure in the first place.
Okay, so it's like a balancing act. Embrace the new while honoring the familiar. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, safety. It's a big concern for anyone moving to a new country. What's the real deal with safety in Mexico?
It's important to be aware of your surroundings and take precautions, just like you would anywhere else in the world. But honestly, many expats find that Mexico is safer than they expected.
Okay, that's reassuring. But how do you know which areas are safe and which ones to avoid?
Do your research, talk to other expats, consult travel advisories, and trust your gut instincts.
Okay, so knowledge is power. But what about those unexpected situations, those moments when you're caught off guard and you don't know what to do?
That's where preparation and awareness come in. Learn some basic Spanish phrases related to safety, have emergency contacts readily available, and know the local emergency numbers.
Okay, so be prepared. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the fun stuff. What are some of the perks of expat life in Mexico? The things that make you jump for joy and say, this is the life.
Oh, there are so many. For starters, the cost of living is generally much lower than in the US or Canada.
Okay, so more bang for your buck. I like it.
What else? The weather is incredible, depending on the location. You can enjoy sunshine and warm temperatures year-round.
Okay, so say goodbye to winter blues and hello to endless summer. What about the people? We've touched on it before, but I want to hear more about the Mexican people.
Mexicans are some of the warmest, most welcoming, and generous people you'll ever meet. They have a strong sense of community and are always up for a good time.
Okay, so I can expect lots of laughter, good food, and maybe even a few impromptu dance parties.
Absolutely. And they're incredibly resilient and resourceful. They know how to make the most of what they have and find joy in the simple things.
Okay, so it's like a life lesson in resilience and finding happiness in the everyday moments. I like it. But let's be real, even with all the amazing perks. Expat life can be a roller coaster of emotions. There are ups and downs, highs and lows. How do you navigate those emotional waves and stay grounded when everything feels new and different?
That's where self-care becomes crucial. Prioritize your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Find activities that bring you joy, connect with supportive people, and don't be afraid to seek professional help if you need it.
Okay, so self-care is non-negotiable. It's like putting on your oxygen mask first before assisting others. But let's be real, some days you just want to throw in the towel, pack your bags, and go back to the familiar comforts of home. How do you push through those moments of doubt and stay committed to your expat dreams?
Those moments are natural, and it's okay to acknowledge them, but remember why you chose this path in the first place. Connect with your purpose, visualize your goals, and remind yourself that growth and transformation often come with discomfort.
Okay, so it's about digging deep, finding that inner strength, and remembering why you embarked on this adventure in the first place. But let's be real, sometimes you need a little extra motivation, a little push to keep going. What are some words of wisdom for those who are feeling lost or discouraged on their expat journey?
Remember that you're not alone. There are countless expats who have walked this path before you, and they've faced similar challenges and triumphs. Connect with those who inspire you. Seek guidance from mentors and coaches, and believe in your ability to create a life you love.
Okay, that's powerful stuff. It's like a reminder that we're all in this together,
Yeah.
and we've got each other's backs. But before we wrap up this epic deep dive, I want to acknowledge the one thing that can make or break your expat experience: mindset.
You nailed it. Your mindset is everything. If you approach this journey with an open heart, a sense of adventure, and a willingness to embrace the unknown, you'll unlock a world of possibilities.
So it's not just about the physical location, it's about the mental and emotional space you create for yourself.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a mindset of curiosity, resilience, and gratitude. It's about seeing challenges as opportunities for growth and embracing the beauty and diversity of a new culture.
This has been an incredible conversation. We've covered so much ground, from exploring dream locations to tackling the practicalities and embracing the emotional and cultural aspects of expat life.
It's been a true deep dive into the heart and soul of expat life in Mexico.
And remember, if you're feeling inspired to take the leap and create your own Mexican adventure, be sure to check out Frankie and Maria's Abroad Experiences YouTube channel. They've got tons of amazing content to guide you every step of the way.
They're the best. You won't regret it.
All right, folks, that's a wrap on our deep dive into expat life in Mexico. We hope you've enjoyed the journey, and we can't wait to see you on the next adventure.
Adios, amigos.
Well, welcome back, guys. Hey,
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
hey, that was some awesome information. That
Yes,
broadcast
it was.
was truly enlightening. So,
Mm-hmm.
but let me ask you, Maria, what stood out most to you just listening to the broadcast?
The fact that there are so many different places in Mexico, Some of them I've never heard of, but there's so many different places that you can try out and see if that's the place for you. It's places for people, retirees, and people, nomads, and what do you call them?
Slow travel.
Yeah, slow travel, things like that. There are a lot of different places to go, and you don't necessarily have to know the language, but it's good if you learn the language. If you plan on spending an extensive amount of time in a foreign country, Mexico, but you don't have to, because a lot of people do speak the language. So those two things were very interesting to me. What about you?
Yeah, well, for me, one of the things that was standing out as far as because I have personal experience going to Los Cabos,
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing the two different types of areas that they are. You know, one is the art area, and one is the more traditional high beat up party area. But we actually went, and when we went, it was during the slow season. So that, to me, that was a awesome time, especially if you're just going to visit. It was an awesome time to visit because we went during the slow season. We were able to walk down the street. We did some video, and I'll probably post that of just a tour that we took, just walking around the streets of Cabo. We did a actual tour of the art district. That was great.
Wasn't that in San Jose?
That was in San Jose.
Yeah.
And
we stayed on the other side.
We went to the port and took a yacht ride. And Maria got by one of the little girls. So she feels sorry for the little girl.
Beautiful little girl. She comes up to me with this sweet little voice and asked me if I'd like to buy a bracelet in Spanish. I understood what she was saying. I couldn't help myself. But then another, even more tiny little girl walked up at.
Soon as she pulled out that one wallet, the other little girl walked up to, says, "Oh, since you got out the wallet, give me something."
But just adorable children out helping their parents sell different items just to make ends meet. So,
but that is one place that is on our list. We're going to take you along our journey. Again, put in the comments below where some of the places that you would consider, even if you're slow traveling, or if you're considering just the move abroad for, just to make it a permanent move, a part-time move, whether you're going snowbirding. Is it called snowbirding? Snowboarding?
Whether you want to be a snowbird.
A snowbird, or whether you want to be a snowbird. Okay, I'm learning all this terminology.
The first question to ask yourself is, when you're considering that, is why? Why do you want to live abroad? I saw something today about the many different reasons why people want to move abroad or want to move abroad.
Yeah.
Is it political? Because we're in that political climate right now. If one wins over the other, is that going to
sway
your decision? And if so, really do your research, because you might be jumping from the flames to
from the frying pan into the fire. So yeah, that is one of the things that I took from the broadcast is research.
Definitely.
Know your why. Why are you stepping out on this? Because something in you, and not only do some research outwardly, do some research inwardly to figure out, is it me? Because once you move, guess what? You're going to be there also. So is it some internal work that you need to do? If that's the case, do some internal work before you move externally.
What do you mean internal work?
If you're moving to another country just believing that thing is going to make you happy, oftentimes it may not be. And I'm a big Abraham Hicks fan, and so Abraham Hicks always said, you can't get there from here. So if you want to get there, which is happiness, you must first find happiness here within yourself, and then you can take that abroad with you. But if you attempt to if you believe that you're going to go abroad to go get happiness, you may be in for a big surprise.
Or you may not. You never know.
You
Who
never
might
know.
meet over there.
We're gonna sing some.
Oh, yes.
Okay, we're gonna go into that later. So, but we're gonna hop on out of here, guys. Again, please like, follow, make a comment. At the very least, share this with someone who may be considering moving abroad or doing some slow travel, and hopefully this information can definitely help them out. So I'm your partner, Frankie P.
I'm Maria P.
And this is Abroad Experience, and we will see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.